Today we're going to deep dive into Audio Finder, and for those who are Wide Orbit Automation customers, which I think is everyone on this call, I'm excited to spend some time with you playing with this tool. I think most of us have used it, but there are some new features and there are some fun things that you may or may not know that you can do within that. So without further ado, let's just say that we're going to go through customizing Audio Finder, searching for and uploading assets, exporting assets, managing transfers, automatic approval rules, but more than that, also working in the individual properties. So without further ado, we're going to hop over to Audio Finder. And part of the fun of doing webinars is being able to manage your screens. And so just so you know, I'll be moving things around that you can't see on the screen as I'm sharing, but hopefully we'll get through this pretty quickly. So here's Audio Finder. And for those who are new to Audio Finder, the way you can get to it is through your browser. You put in the IP address of your central server. One thing I want to mention, and actually I'm thinking as I do this, I probably should. Oh, we're just going to move forward. So with our you can access it through your IP address of your central server. If you use Playlist Editor but have never used Audio Finder, you can see the address in your Playlist Editor login screen, and then you just go to a browser, use the same username and password, and it should take you right to this. So here in Audio Finder, there are things you can search for. You can search for, again, our demo system has an 80s library, so of course I can find music by Prince in here. And here we can see all of the different elements of these assets. However, within these elements, there are key features that we have added recently. So you can click on the cog on the screen and select different fields. Some new ones include the gain field. It's fun to have things like the intro or maybe the last time played, the next time played, but you can also have album, your ISKI codes, anything like that. Any of these fields that you select are then searchable. And so if you need to find an asset that is 3 minutes and 24 seconds long, here are all the assets in this library that are 3 minutes and 24 seconds. So you can also search by these elements within your library widget in the studio, which can be handy if you're trying to back time into a live break or live content. But let's go back to play with our friend Prince. So as you can see, we've added these different fields here where I've got the start. I had the start date and the stop date before, but I'm trying to get the GoToWebinar piece out of the way so I can see what I'm talking to you about. So there's the last time play, the next time play, and there is a play button here. If you click play on this, one of the things you will find pretty quickly is that you need to set up your browser to decide what software you're going to play in. For those of you who also maybe have an audio editing tool such as Audition on the machine, you can set it up to where it'll pop these assets right straight into Audition. If you click the carrots, again, you have to configure what you want the carrots to do, and that's where on my system, because I'm running out of the cloud, I can't play with that tool, but you'll be able to in yours. Let's select When Doves Cry and see what we can do with this. So once I select this asset, you see I can upload it, I can export it, I can edit the properties. So let's just pick upload. So for example, if I already have this song playing in one of my stations, I can distribute it to other stations. I can also upload it to remote markets. And we'll get a little more into that remote inventory aspect a little further in this demonstration. You can export things. I don't know how many of you have worked in production, but it is forever the dance of production where a salesperson needs to hear a spot, or they need to have a copy of a spot, or you need to distribute this spot to other radio stations. Well, here you can export it as an MP3 because of course you don't want to try to email a high quality WAV file, or you can email straight from the Audio Finder interface. And the configuration of this email account, where it's coming from and who's going to get the balances and all of that is available in your configuration screens. So very handy to be able to just email a spot to the salesperson and say, okay, this one says Christmas in it. It's May. We probably need a different variety because I think we've also all encountered that before. Within the When Doves Cry song, we can click on the properties. And again, here are fields that we can fill out. You can customize these fields and create extras. We also have the ability to control timers. So the cue in and the intro, those you probably want to do set while listening to the file. Same with EOM. But if you're ever, just listening and you're like, oh my gosh, if we just make that a half second tighter, it would sound so much better. So you can certainly edit these as text. The restrictions. Now, this is very helpful because, for example, in the Christmas ad that I mentioned before, you can sunset that ad to not play after 12:25. And specifically, let's say maybe it's talking about a sale that ends at 5 p.m. on Christmas Day. Well, then you can certainly sunset that distribution to not play after 5 p.m. The other thing you can do, I'm going to choose the example of, let's say we're playing with a morning show promo, but you don't want to run the promo during the morning show. So you can set hourly restrictions, and you can set that you don't want to run that promo 6A to 10A, for example, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But it can run 24/7 on Saturday and Sunday. Now, of course, you can select all hours or you can select all days, but this is a powerful tool when you're using with your promos and liners and imaging packages to be able to make sure that they are day part sensitive as you set them up in your rotators. So very helpful tools within that skill set. Of course, I'm not going to save this to the Poor Prince song. That's not fair. Some of the tools that you can do is you can also adjust normalization. So if you notice that you need to improve the normalization within a single audio file, you can use any one of these 5 filters to be able to accommodate that. And the third option is distribution. So we have recently added the ability to move or copy, and this is very helpful for what I've seen this used in many ways, but an example that I would say is taking all of your Christmas content and putting it in Christmas specific categories. Maybe you want to move everything to a Christmas category. Well, certainly you could move it that way. Or if you just want to keep backups someplace, you could have a copy and you could make backups. You can also utilize this tool to distribute. So if you have a promo that is a promotion that starts to cross across multiple stations, then you could send it to multiple workstations, or these last two are our remote locations. So we use Friendship Server for those. So speaking of Friendship Server, let's talk about remote inventory. So here I've searched for the word prints and remote inventory, and it's reached out to other places in my network that are connected through our Friendship Server. So if you have multiple locations, you can share content across those locations, and you can do it very strategically and specifically so that you're not accidentally overriding commercials in the other market. Say that you have the comm category in both places, but you want to make sure that they are independent. You can keep them out of your friendship connections, but you can share voice tracks, you can share audio libraries, and so on and so forth. And it's pretty easy to reach out to the remote inventory. I'm going to pick on this Princess Bride Mostly Dead promo, and I can select download. And it will allow me to decide where I'm going to download it to, what category I'm going to place it in, what asset ID I'm going to give it, and if I need to do any normalization. I also have the option to, if there's already something on that number or that media asset ID, then I can say overwrite the local file or discard the downloaded file. So there's 3 options within there. Again, I'm going to hit cancel. But if I had selected that, well, here, we'll cancel it in a bit, but we'll say that we're going to download it to 1440 in our test category, just for the sake of illustration here. So now you can see that it's in my transfers and I can watch these come across. I think this sample workstation that we use for testing is offline right now, so I'm going to go ahead and press cancel. But if I had multiples in here, you could see where they were, and you can also reprioritize them as they come in. Whew, that was a lot of words. So let's just go back for a couple seconds. We have local inventory management, and again, I'm just going to, pick on a 1980s artist for our library. And you can see that we also have Madonna in the title. So any of the metadata fields, if I search in here, um, and it is a deductive search. So if I just, there you are, we can see Rock Me Amadeus. You can upload, you can export, you can adjust the properties. One thing I want to note is, as you see, I have this asset identified and I have delete as an option. You can change that option for each user who logs into Audio Finder so that not all of your staff can delete assets. And I highly recommend that you consider this um, because we've all had help that wasn't necessarily as helpful as we would have liked. But it is an option that you can have, and it is in your user configurations. So friends, these are the wonderful features and options within Audio Finder.